Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Peacemaker Podcast here on DC Studios Podcast, hosted by Multiverse of Color and DC Podcast. I'm your host, Andy B. As usual, I'm back. I'm back from my little hiatus. Vanessa is not with us today. She's actually right now, as we speak, she is at New York Comic Con and getting some great coverage for Multiverse of Color. So follow all the socials to keep up. But I am joined by my fellow gentleman, Kyle from the Film Realists and Jedi Mike 7. Gentlemen, how are we doing?
It's Friday night. We're talking DC. Pretty good day, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the weekend and stuff. But in terms of this show, I'm not. I'm disappointed. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Okay, well, we're definitely gonna get into that because we weren't here last week, guys. We are gonna be covering episodes 7 and 8 as kind of like two combining. So, like, we will, we're not gonna like recap every single thing. We're just talking mostly about storylines so that we don't, make it too long of an episode. But first, before we start, since Vanessa couldn't be here with us, she did send us a little video message to give her thoughts on the finale. So we're gonna play so you guys get to hear at least what she thought, and then we're gonna break it down what we thought. So take it, Vanessa.
Hey everyone, sorry I'm not there for the Peacemaker finale. I wish I was there, but it's okay because I'm at New York Comic Con. I got to see the finale yesterday with the Phase Hero podcast. They hosted Freddie Stroma, who of course plays Vigilante, and he was awesome. He's very sweet, also British. I forgot, I didn't realize that, and he's such a good American accent. Anyway, that was a fun time. The finale itself, I thought was rushed, but it was a good time. I do think that this season overall suffered from them trying to set up an entirely new movie, and you could tell here that was the case. But I will say we were right. Like, checkmate is happening. Like, all season long we've been talking about Leota or somebody building checkmate with Sacha Bordeaux, and that's why they have Sacha Bordeaux in the comics. We have checkmate coming in the DC universe. That's really cool. So I'm excited about that. I think I'm excited. The finale made me excited for the larger DC universe, but as a Peacemaker finale, it was not satisfactory. It was too short. Like, it was too rushed. They didn't explore, like, it just was too rushed, and like the Rick Flag Senior's descent into villainy was so it's been happening all season, but it was just not, it just was felt like it didn't hold the weight that it needed to, and like give that space. Like, the cliffhanger at the end was like so good, whatever. I'm interested to see what's gonna happen for the wider DC universe, but as a Peacemaker finale, it wasn't a good Peacemaker finale, but it was a great episode to launch more of the Man of Tomorrow DC universe. So that's what I think. Hand it over to you guys.
Well, thank you, Vanessa, for your thoughts, and we hope everything's going well at New York Comic Con. But let's get into the final two episodes, and like in between the discussions, like we will interject some because there's been a lot of postmortems from James Gunn today in light of the finale airing. So to kind of give us some insight to what is next and what's going on. So we're talking about episode 7, like a key from the night. I didn't know that was a title. And episode 8. Full Nelson. So episode 7 deals with the aftermath of episode 6. It took all of my strength not to laugh my ass off when I came home from the hospital after my surgery and I was like putting the episode up, I was like, okay, I shouldn't watch because I know one of these guys are gonna make me laugh. And then Mike came with it's a black, and I'm like, I don't want to laugh, but oh my god, that's so funny because I had stitches. So we deal with the aftermath, and we learn more about Earth X. So how do we feel like they dealt with? Everyone is raising their head, like very polite, very very mindful, very demure today. So what did everyone think about the Earth X story? Mike,
I'll be quick, Mike, and then
okay.
because I know you've got stuff to say. We were things were happening in the Discord. I think fundamentally the biggest problem with episode 7 is so many of the concepts that are finally addressed or come to an end in this should have been the focus of the whole season. We've discussed this, and I think, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like it was Vanessa's point, which was so shout out to Canadians, because it's a different world to some of this, but she brought up a point, and it's held true for me for the rest of the season, which is this concept of it being, we all called it Earth X because we all watched the Arrowverse, but they're Earth 2, whatever, Earth Nazi. So much of that makes absolutely no sense to the cultural context of like what America is now or how it would last. And that to me was specifically annoying because the biggest problem with this show doing that is the substance is just surface level, where all we get out of this from Chris's entire experience is Amelia being like, you didn't notice the painting, or there was no minorities, but the themes of what that would actually mean societally are handled with such minute care. There's no serious conversations. That has been, if all four of us were banging a drum saying, when this show is great, it's meaningful, deep character conversations. That's when it's been amazing. And to address this concept that is so familiar to Chris with who his dad was in the first season, for it not to carry through, the problem with 6 and now into 7 and 8, holding that reveal was such a waste of time, where if you actually put Chris on a planet where he's aware that it is his dad's dream planet, where the Nazis had won World War II, and this is what America, that being where they are, has become. And the emotional strain that would have put on Chris, knowing I'm in a terrible place, but my dad is somebody who I always wanted him to be. And we get to see this from this version of Augie. He says he saw our Chris's Augie and was like, oh, that guy's messed up. But for Chris to be completely unaware that this is the place he was at, from a narrative standpoint, is lazy. And it shows how quickly, like, a lot of this to me, more than anything, feels like first drafts. And then, we've got to, and we'll get into 8, we've got to move stuff forward, where there are really interesting parts of this narrative that if you've moved them much earlier into the show, it would have been much more compelling and way more interesting. Like if Ads had gone with Chris and been trapped there, and you should have done this because you get the one conversation between Judo Master and Ads, like, oh, this world sucks, eh? Okay. Like it was very shallow, like the pool that all the Nazis were killed in.
Mike, how did you feel about, now that we had the full context of Earth X in episode 7, what were your takeaways from it?
First off, everything that Kyle says, I 100% agree with. In terms of, again, it felt shallow. Much as I will say in terms of entertaining, you want to call it, 6 and 7 were the most entertaining episode, aside from, like, I say 3, 6, and 7. Right, I felt were really good, entertaining episodes and stuff like that. Right, but to your point, if that element of Earth X was explored a lot earlier, you cut away the Michael Rooker's character, you cut away a lot of the aspects of the or dial back bird blindness or that character, because he is pivotal to Checkmate. I'm not telling him to get rid of Tim Meadows' character, but I'm just saying to dial it back to point, we're not letting this time waste just over this, his humor and everything like that. You can still have those moments, but again, it just dialing it back, less is more. But when it comes to about this being a Nazi world too, on top of that, I like that the concept of multiverse being personal, different from what Marvel was doing. The only ones that have gotten it right, honestly, is Invincible and Spider-Man. At this point, that in terms of making multiverse a lot more personal, tied to interpersonal relationships on another reality instead of, and maybe, I guess you can count maybe Wanda or something like that, but still, in the arc in Multiverse of Madness, but it's not used for the sake of cameos. It's used to serve the story of the title character. And what, unfortunately, what we get here is now not only that we have an opportunity to actually, have real conversation in the friend group of Team Peacemaker when they were together. You had a situation where not only that this dude was raised by white supremacists, that he went to a whole reality that, that people like his best friend would even exist and he didn't even notice. And that should say something. And then the message of showing, oh yeah, this is what white privilege is. Privilege is invisible to the people who have it. All right, great. And then you showed that, which it shows just like, yeah, you didn't see the big ass mural, whatever. Yeah, you can say it's a joke, but that is realistic. It's more of like, hey, what racism, what's all this stuff like that, right? And I think there should be a conversation between Chris and Adebayo. Instead, what we get here is, again, the black token character defending the white male character and creating excuses for their ignorance. And just for the sake of moving the plot further, even though in reality this wouldn't happen. I'd be like, wait, hold on. I was one of the first people that you confided with about this reality, and then yet you went in here and you chose this side over the one here, and people like me are not around or locked up and stuff like that, and you didn't even notice, right? That should have weight there. So when Judah Master that conversation was great, I'm like, oh, that's all we're getting for Adebayo. I was like, yeah, but out of that, he is a nice guy. Where I'm like, as a friend, it's like ignorance in terms of is the lack or willingness to receive knowledge, right? And when you choose to be ignorant, that's a problem where that is should cause some, at least should be addressed in any type of relationship you have, white, black, race, sexual orientation, whatever. There should be a conversation to address that, because if you can't even respect my existence and not know that something's off here, that means there's an underlying tone of complacency that you have that's not addressed. So again, I can go on with that, but like, let it be there. Well, aside from that, the Augie Smith revelation that he's not a Nazi, he's actually a good guy, whatever. That's also showing white complacency, whatever, in that world, right? But I thought that was beautiful for hopefully a reveal in episode 8 that possibly that Augie Smith actually traded places with his Earth X counterpart, and the one we had in Red Dragon or the White Dragon in season 1, he was the literal Nazi. And this one was the one that swapped for whatever reason, that, the mom was still alive there, whatever, because we saw that flashback episodes before of them finding the door. And then, he smacked him in the face and everything. So obviously he was aggressive. That dad wouldn't do that. The one in Earth X, the blue dragon, whatever, right? And I thought, hey, that would have been such a parallel that, hey, Chris swapped places with his counterpart, but then you realize, oh wait, no, your dad did this before, and the one that's defending you, it's like, hey, listen, he honestly made a genuine mistake, right? And our Chris wasn't a really good guy. No father, if this is supposed to be the good version, no father will be like, yeah, my son wasn't okay, wasn't the best. He could be honest, but like, you still kill my son, right? But it will make more sense on an emotional level if, like, oh, I'm defending Chris because this is my actual son, and he's doing what I did years ago, thinking that this reality or my interpersonal relationships, whatever, is better than what the world I'm in, whatever. So I chose this, and now some wild case. Now years later, he's doing the exact same thing. But in Keith, it's like, what, Dad? It seemed like you didn't love him. Well, yeah, because he's not my son. This one's my son, or something, right? But whatever. Theory, I thought that would have been a crazy twist, whatever, but it didn't go nowhere, and whatever. Then Keith, whether we'll see Keith return at this point, I thought that was great of scene for scene, the fact of like, yeah, now that dad died again, and then watching his brother about to be killed and stuff. Whether it might have been a final fight that he had to kill him again because he was about to kill one of the 11th Street kids or something, could have been a little bit at another more emotional way. But no, you let this a plot linger, thinking that he's going to show up in the finale. So the whole episode, this whole hour-long episode, I'm thinking, okay, he's going to come right through that door or something and whatever. And then he's going to come to our reality, whatever. And when they're at the motel and everything all kumbaya, all of a sudden he freaking lands and then he get a final boss fight or something, whatever. No, that doesn't happen. So now I'm just like, okay, that's lingering. that episode 7 felt like a finale, and episode 8 felt like the epilogue or for another movie that is really not adding anything beneficial to this overall story of Peacemaker. We don't know where the helmets came from. We still don't know where in terms of the context of the QUC, like, wait, so how was he able to get all this technology and everything, like, and the dad would just willingly know everything about that. All that stuff was in there, and maybe your counterpart could have explained that. But no, I just felt this was rushed. The vigilante thing, I thought that was funny. That was hilarious. But for episode 7 particularly, we're staying on topic with that. I felt that it was entertaining. However, the passing of the conversation about race and relationships and everything, and having just a 1 or 2 minute conversation, and then, all right, now that's done, wherever. I thought that was really, I don't want to call it maybe disrespectful. Because, like, if you're gonna go there, then go there. And don't just use this as a sake of, like, oh, shock value, and using the traumatic shot. Because listen, my wife was bothered by watching Adebayo running away from Nazis, and a lot of people I've contacted me felt the exact same way, because that image now is there for pop culture now, and you think you're serving story there for shock value, whatever, and like, hey, Danielle, you're okay with this? Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm okay with it, boss. What's she gonna say? You know, it feels like recklessness and lack of balance in terms of the actual themes that could have made the Earth X storyline way more complex if that was the focal point of this entire season, and it's not. So yeah, that's where I feel, kind of underwhelmed with that. But anyway, yeah, episode 7.
Yeah, for me, because again, like, because we didn't record last week, I had a chance to kind of rewatch a couple of times and really take it all in, because at the same, like, I'm very mixed about these final 2 episodes. And when it comes to the Earthx stuff, because again, like, I'm a man of color. I'm an openly gay man. Like, these are things that I live with every day, and like these are conversations that are not that simple. And so because I was thinking back to season 1, like, again, like, in season 1, even there, Chris is somewhat ignorant, but he still also is, to a degree, socially aware, to the point where, like, I feel like the Christopher we were following in season 2 should have picked up on the way sooner that why are there so many white people here? Because, like, if we as viewers, like, we can go back to our discussion we had several weeks ago, like, when me and Vanessa pointed out, and Mike had that very, very funny reaction, in the beginning. It's like, if us as viewers can pick up on that,
it's because it was lazy. I'm sorry. Like, people are pulling their punches with this season of the show, and I'm so sorry to interrupt you, Andy.
No,
but
okay.
This season was lazy.
It is lazy.
There are great stuff in, like, if you rearrange ideas in this, it would have been easily the better season. Like, I also, so just before we jumped on, I watched 7 and 8 back to back to make sure they were as fresh as possible. And thinking of the ludicrousy, like, imagine we just, like, didn't introduce the butterflies till episode 7. It made no sense. Like, in 2025, the concept of what this could have explored personally, and I know, like, the 3 of you chatted, I don't remember when I jumped on, episode 4 or 5, I don't remember. But I know the 3 of you had these conversations about what the pitch for this season is. And I know, Andy, we talked about episode 1 specifically, and Chris and Ads dealing with their self-worth because of doing the right thing. When did that come up again?
Yeah, and this is what's so shocking to me is that, because, like, I want to make one point with what Mike said before, because I think we definitely need this. We need to give this some credit. It's not just Marvel that has done good multiverse stuff. I will say the Arrowverse did some in definitely in the earlier days. They great stuff. With
I agree.
Yeah, Yeah, because like
DCAU also, like back in the
DCA,
Justice League
DC,
Unlimited days.
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah.
Justice Lords, come on. Yes.
Yeah, Justice Lords, not Earth 2.5 with the Justice Guild.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
They weren't
yeah.
allowed to do the JSA because they didn't want to kill everybody off to Neil Patrick Harris's like messed up body.
But what I remember is that, as someone who covered so many CW shows, that had 22 episodes, but they had to work with network limits of what they could, explore and tackle, and also they could only work with 40 minutes, because commercials, whatnot. So I'm like, okay, I have to accept it. But then
how many episodes were longer than 40 minutes with this season? One
finale.
Only one. Everything else was under 40.
Yeah. So to the point that I'm making is that if you're only going to do in the current age of streaming, where again this season took 3 years,
writer strike,
and stuff like that,
DC shuffle,
so all that. But like, if you're going to make us wait for 3 years and then give us 8 episodes, but then have 7 that are relatively short and not with a lot of meat, then because I feel there's a lot of discussions and conversations about the way that Chris should have perceived Earthx way sooner. That like Adebayo should have had, and she should have been the one. Like again, I love the fact that it's important when that's why I actually also appreciate that Emilia was also the one who kind of was like, you didn't pick up on this, because sometimes bless you, sometimes white people don't pay attention at all to some of these things, like and like I'm sure all 3 of us have had because Kyle, I don't know, a lot of people know this, but you're half Asian, so I'm sure you've had to have conversation with people in your life if they're not being sensitive to your culture. And I know you and I and Vanessa, we've had to have various conversations about Black and brown culture. And so the fact that someone like Christopher, who was so socially aware enough in season 1 to, again, because I get it, he's grieving, he's living his, the grass is better on the other side, seeing his family now alive and everything. But it's like, you're telling, because again, that mural, that's not something you miss. Like, you walk the same hallway.
I want somebody, maybe one of our viewers can do this. I would love somebody to make a compilation of if it's ever in his peripheral vision, right? Like, we see him come into the office, so it would be on like what, his left eye?
No, he would have been on his right side, because it would have been, because here would be the wall, and then around the corner is where like economists,
You're
where
right,
Rick
yes.
was sitting.
Is right, because the camera was positioned where when he came back after he decided to stay there and running and trying to kiss the other
soft
Emilia, soft court, we're facing from the wall's point of view of them coming together, and then they cut away to what was it, episode 5? Yes, or so. Yeah, and then so when that happens, we're seeing, like, if we turn around here, then we'll see the wall, but the wall is behind us if we're facing them. So
so
the flags are curved up. I mean, it's
And the thing is, like, here I want to say, because there's been a lot of arguing today on social media about people are feeling very mixed about season 2, and then people who enjoyed season 2 are being called chills and everything and stuff. Like, here's the thing, like, we could acknowledge that James Gunn is a good writer, he's a good director, but he also has flaws, and this is one of them. Being when you're doing a show where, because this is the problem that Euphoria has. Euphoria has no writers' room. No, listen, hold on. I'm never gonna compare James Gunn to Sam Levinson, because Sam, I'm not going there. James is, I think that there's enough people around James that he could have had conversations with and said, "Am I being perceptive enough about this?" Again, for example, I'm sure someone what if he and Daniel Brooks had written some of those episodes together? Like, kind of, I know she said that she was, he's talked in interviews that he talked to her and pitched to her and so on. But at the end of the day, yes, of course she, she's gonna say yes. She's the star of his show, and he's the one who writes it all. And I'm sure, if there was something she was uncomfortable with, she would likely put her foot down. And but maybe she, again, this is a conversation for Daniel Brooks to have of like, how did you feel about all this? Because like just to have Judo Master, who I guess I like now, because again, like when they had that conversation, like I don't like very very lightly. Like again, like I can live with or without him. But what I'm saying is the fact that there's only the two of them having that conversation, and like Mike said, it was what, like less than 3 minutes, if even.
Problem is this. There's no substance. Like the Nazi thing in context to the story of the show is useless. Like my criticism is not of the Nazi planet. It served absolutely zero narrative purpose. It's just there for shock value. Because if we figured this out by episode 2, we had to wait 4 weeks. I mean, we got all 5, but the general viewing audience had to wait 5 weeks for something that was so obvious. And if we caught this, like I'm calling this season, this is James Gunn's prequels. And I hope moving forward that this is not the case. I know I mentioned this to Mike and Vanessa, which is this is a different era of DC Studios or DC ever, right? Because in the midst of the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, James was working in his little corner, and that's not to diminish what he worked on, but now you're one of the co-CEOs of the studio. Superman has to be a lot more mainstream, but the problem with that is the next thing that comes out is your niche show that is on HBO Max. It's all on the same streaming platform. Shout out Crave to my fellow Canadians. But this is, I like James Gunn as a writer and a director. He's made some stuff I really, really love. Superman is my favorite comic book movie he's made. But this season of television is poorly constructed. Its characters have next to no plot. It tells us what their arcs are. Quite literally, let's jump to 8 because I think it's a good pivot point, Andy, which is with what happens at the end of 7, Chris is now like, I'm the angel of death.
Well, I just want to point out one thing, because like and I think we can all agree about that, is that holy fuck, John Cena is an amazing actor.
He's fantastic in this season.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Like this dude has great, because I mean he was good in season 1, but the growth he has done is incredible. Because again, like I haven't gone through trauma like that Chris has, but like I know what it's like to relive it. Like when he's seeing what's happening to Keith, and like when that scream comes out and he begs him to stop, is it's heartbreaking. And then like the way, again, like the way he just gives up. He's like, they only came here to convince me to give myself up. He gives the what's it called? The it's not the
dimensional doorway.
Yeah, he gives
golden chamber.
Yeah, he gives it to Rick, and and like in a lot of ways, Mike is right. This felt very much like that was the finale. Like you could have ended it there and then been like, okay,
I should have,
but by the same time, like I like it because I do think that like I didn't want to leave the 11th Street kids at where they were, because like now Amelia is like she's gotten what she wanted, but at what cost? Economist feels is torn about everything he's done this season. Adebayo, we will get okay. So let's go to episode 8, and they're trying to connect with him. They're trying to go visit him, but he refuses and everything, and we see, and then and finally Kyle got his Scooby-Doo montage, them going through doors.
Okay, I need to thank you.
Go ahead, man.
This is the worst episode of Peacemaker of all time. I'm sorry. Like Mike, I'm so glad you said that 7 was a finale. This is maybe, because this is how it functions to technicalities, as we're all TV viewers, this is a series finale. This is the worst series finale I've seen in a really long time, because nothing that has anything to do with anything happens. Everybody is just moved into like you might as well have had James Gunn going, okay, you started at point B, you're now at point Q, and everyone has had this development off camera. Rick Flag, like, I'm sorry, this episode wasn't funny. If you laughed at the little squeaky guys humping, like, it was so dumb. Like, none of it was funny. And even Tim Meadows is kind of like, I guess, like, I was flabbergasted. Also, I think a lot of us are going to share this sentiment. You baiting people with cameos is worse than celebrities just lying to our faces, because this episode straight up sucks. I've watched it twice, and if you enjoyed it, I'm so happy for you. But just being like, look, there's a skull and it's metal, and then there's the humpy aliens, and then like
I didn't get what any of those were. I'm like,
none of it's funny. The only reason it works, and we've given credit to her, and she deserves it for this season, which is Jennifer Holland is putting in the work to sell what this is doing to her psychologically. In the meantime, Lex's crew and Rick Flag, all of their character development or their relationships is happening off screen until Rick shows up and he's like, evil planet prison.
Yeah, so this is one of the problems that I've seen a lot with what people were saying is that, because people were saying that, James said that we're going to be, these huge cameos, they were interpreting as in the finale, but he technically said there was going to be big cameos in the final episodes, at which, we had Lex, and that's it. And I do, I think he definitely overhyped
6, right? Yeah, 6. Yeah, it was 6.
Which week was I gone?
You were gone week 6.
Okay, yeah, so that must have been it. Yeah, so like, I think he overhyped. I definitely think
no. He baited us like he did with the Flash. He lied to our faces.
Well, the Flash, I think, is a different situation because it's like,
Mike, you're muted. Like, you got it.
Bingo. Listen, I literally last night. So we had a reaction, a video, and then we record our review after. And a friend of mine, Miguel. He's morally the positive, over the hype, guy and everything. Nothing wrong with that, but just like, when I gave my review of the first 5 episodes, and then everyone's saying great, I'm like, guys, these first 5 episodes, I'm not, feeling it, whatever. And then when I got to 6 and 7, all right, there's building up some anticipation here. Like, okay, you can actually turn this around, okay? But there were some good things in there. However, when it got to 8, the look on his face of disappointment, because I was excited. I was looking forward to Thursday night this week because how much it was overhyped, not because of my expectation of, or hey, I want to see this cameo and this blah blah blah. No, I am taking the words that are coming exactly out of his mouth, and that's what I literally said in my review. James, I love you, bro. Please shut up. Just to be a co-CEO, be a producer, and I know you're a good writer, and I know you are a good director when you are focused. When you are in a setting here where now you're just trying to talk about where disconnected this and disconnect that, and you respond to every freaking comment on Twitter or on Threads. Nothing wrong about communicating with your fan base, but what comes with that is a byproduct of being pigeonholed by expectations and false expectations that you either intentionally or unintentionally create. But at this point, you are 2 for 2 now, James, for this. And now, and you also are creating the very thing you said you were against, creating homework. Because now, my wife still has not seen the episode. I told her, and then she saw me look my face like, sweetheart, I'm just telling you this. You as a non-comic reader, you might just gonna enjoy, some elements of this finale, of the emotional level, but there's other parts you like, in which me being the encyclopedia of the family, you can ask, well, what did this connect to? I don't know, because this doesn't even make narratively sense to the comic guy. Right?
I'm terrified for Man of Tomorrow now, legitimately.
I literally posted the gif of Lex Luthor coming out saying, "I'm scared." Like,
okay, I think that's a stretch. I think that's a stretch.
No, it's not. Okay. So I think everybody, had a general idea of what he was pitching when he showed us those pictures and then the picture of the script. And there's some, I understand.
Hold on one sec. Listen, if you're watching a free live stream, nobody's forcing you. If you don't want to hear us talk, leave. So I don't know who you are, but bitch some more, I guess.
Free speech, whatever.
Exactly.
Man of Tomorrow is looking like Brainiac based on, I mean, I'm just looking at what the picture was of the script and the relationship between these two people. We understand who Lex is, having watched Superman. Salvation connected to Man of Tomorrow is a terrifying idea because it means we've jumped 6 steps ahead of where we were.
That's a phase 2 type of,
because we're just looking at the thing. We've got Supergirl, which is going to be in space, having nothing to do with anything. Thank God Lanterns is a Tom King. Bless you, sir. So
they're saying Lanterns connect to.
Well, I mean, it's gonna have to, sure.
No, but they're saying that arc of was it the alternate world? I forgot.
Salvation Run.
Salvation, yeah, it's connecting to Salvation Run.
So
whatever.
I have no problem with you're pulling from stuff that's compelling. I've read that run. It's cool. We are 1 movie in. 1. And now it's not even about the homework, Mike, which you're right. The problem is like you cannot swing this big this early. It was Mike. It's your mic.
And here I thought it was my AirPods. Oh my god.
My heart is pounding. That came out of
my
nowhere.
heart. Yeah, that's apologies to our viewer.
The light's off, Mike. I don't think it's on.
Oh, okay.
Doing it again.
Oh my god. Okay. No, don't put it on. Don't put. Oh my god.
He'll work on it. Work on that. That to me is the most terrifying part of this show is it doesn't need to be grandiose to succeed. And that's what's most frustrating. Like we all were interested in if we were going to get checkmate, but the worst part about this finale, which really does feel like an epilogue, really, I think the way that Mike put it, it's boring. Like this was not a good episode of TV.
For me, it's a mixed episode that has cool parts of it. Basically, I mean, again, I don't
better.
Yes, you're fixed.
Oh,
bingo.
Okay.
Mike was so mad he punched his computer.
Yeah, and punishing us for it. Like,
I apologize. That just happened. My apologies.
You're good. You're good. No,
sorry
we're going to Salvation. Jeez.
Yeah,
it's so broad.
Okay, hold on. I don't think, first of all, I don't think Salvation is going to play that big of a role in Man of Tomorrow. I think it will be something that is like, will be referenced.
That's where Superman goes at the end?
No, God forbid.
And then we have a world without Superman, and then everybody's going to be like, oh my God, you got rid of Superman after 2 movies? Where have I seen that before?
But okay, so with the Salvation Run, okay, you're absolutely right, Kyle, because like this is my thing. We haven't even gotten to the good parts of this episode. All right, okay, because there are great things in this episode. Again, will we like Peacemaker, the ensemble, and the emotional relationship you have with the 11th Street kids and Team Peacemaker? All those elements, we'll address that. Were great. We're talking about the nerd shit now. Salvation Run, as you said, going into was it Final Crisis? Great story, but yet you have to understand that. So if anyone doesn't know, that involves setting in the Salvation Run, setting supervillains into this other world, whatever, and they're basically creating factions of of dominancy and everything that is basically
It's Lord of the Flies with bad guys.
Be basically right. But think about this: we're in still phase 1 of gods and monsters, and also because of Salvation Run's also connected to new gods, dark side, and everything like that, and everything, right? Which I speculated about dark side stuff with the technology and everything, but even then, they didn't even tap into that. But anyway, Salvation Run is cool because of the dynamic of the supervillains interacting with each other. We're seeing Joker going against Lex Luthor, we're seeing Captain Cold, Mirror Master, Gorilla Grodd, other people. That's great. But here's the thing: none of those characters, and at this point, listen, we have the Batman Part 2. We're not even going to address Flash by your words, James.
For we have one villain. Years. We have Lex.
Right.
That's it.
We have one villain,
one
Lex
guy.
Luthor. And also Gorilla Grodd, because that was he was in Creature Commandos. But aside from that, I'm just saying, like, that was like jumping the gun, no pun intended. I'm like, wait, the actual interesting thing about Salvation Run, like, you can't even address, like, and that's a part of your pitch meeting of the whole universe is like. So again, I don't even know where this is leading down to, where you can get the actual meat of Salvation Run and what, like, Clayface and I don't know, lanterns. Sinestro gonna be locked up in there? Like, what? I don't know. So it's just like I'm really genuinely confused. Like,
I think you're really okay. Now I think you're really grasping. You're grasping at something that, again, we don't know that. Oh, we're gonna get a full Salvation solution. Wrap up by this year or that year. So this is something I think is going to be slowly built upon for the next, couple of projects. Something that, again, because you can plant a seed, and it doesn't mean that it's like, okay, after 2 years, it's going to be happening there or whatever. It's going to be happening this soon. Now hold on, because I let you guys talk, and you've both interrupted me every time I've talked. So I'm putting my foot down. I think, again, I don't think this plot will have anything to do with Man of Tomorrow. It will be knowledge in the background. I think that's it, because, again, I don't think that, because when we're talking homework. We're talking about homework. We're talking about the commentators like it's about the MCU. MCU has really become a homework to the point where, like, when I know both of you take some Fantastic Four to some degree, but, like, you could watch Fantastic Four First Steps, like, as, like, if you've never seen a single MCU movie in your whole life, that could be your starting point. No homework, and then you could be like,
a Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually Archie Comics. So what I'm saying, though, is the fact that that's become homework for the MCU. But I feel with DC, like, to call it homework already is because, again, like, people who saw Peacemaker is, oh, good Lord. People, turn on the eyeballs. I forgot to tell you. People who saw Peacemaker are not going to think, oh my God, this is, everything is not ready to Man of Tomorrow. It's, again, the only thing that Peacemaker Season 2 does for Man of Tomorrow is Lex is now moved to not Bel Rev. It was a different prison. That's
Is he a Black?
No, not Blackgate.
It's not.
No, it's a.
He's not at Arkham. Here, let's look.
I forgot what it was called. Call something.
Something with Kroll.
I'm top of my head, but I know what you're talking about. The other, another prison,
Evergreen Corrections, Iron Heights.
It's called something.
It's something with a K. It's something with a K. Yes. That's all I remember. But what I'm saying is, like, again, like, Peacemaker Season 2 is it's not consequential to Man of Tomorrow. It's it has elements that are not consequential to the DCU. And again, it's like, when they get fleshed out again, because people who watch Peacemaker, don't want Peacemaker, but maybe watch Lanterns, for example, because that's going to play a pivotal part. But Lanterns seems to be like the show that is going to be very, very important for these. Yeah, which listen, I agree. I'm just saying that to be this word already for Man of Tomorrow or like for the rest of the DCU, again, I think it's just a little premature. Again, because we all of us knew going to Peacemaker that this is a whack show. We're not supposed to take it that we're supposed to take it half seriously. Not like, again, because we know that there are gonna be things that are just like the fuck, what the fuck are we doing here? So again, and the fact that they're doing something like Salvate, pulling it, again, like Hunter Iggy said, by the way, Hunter, I saw your comment before. I'm doing well. Thank you for being here. James Gunn said he will take elements of Salvation, and it's not an adaptation of the comic book. So again, I think it's something that's going to be slowly built upon. Kind of like, I almost think
Van Cole.
Yes. Thank you. I knew it was something with a K. With a K.
Kyle.
I think. You want a person named after? Okay, cool. If I could see Salvation being the Shield, the kind of the similar effect, the similar way they did it with Shield in the MCU, or kind of like slowly building it up, and then eventually they gave them a show and really fleshed upon about it, but like having it there in the background of like as we get introduced to more villains or gods and monsters, if you will, that get sent to this dimension, it's going to culminate at some point.
Yeah,
down the line, like I don't think we're gonna get like a wrap up to that story within the next 2 years, if even 3. I don't think, again, James is placing seeds because he know, like he might have made some really big mistakes this season, but again, like if Superman is, again, I'm not judging his ability to lead DC Studios based on Peacemaker. I'm judging it based on how he did Superman and what he's been doing with other projects so far, where he has a different creative team for Supergirl, a different creating for Lanterns. He has a different creating for Clayface, bless you. And again, it's not just his tone, his vibe, his aesthetic that we're looking through. It's through the lens of DC. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now go ahead and freak out.
No, it's not a freak out. It is pure evaluation of the story that's been presented in front of us. That is where my criticism will come from in the next sentiment. Okay.
And I want to talk about Frank Grillo, because that's also connected to this as well, with the frustration with this episode, because the complete 180 of this character. Now, some people can say, well, no, you're seeing evolution of this character from Creature Commandos, the grief of his son and everything. And then is he going to actually whether forgive Chris or let this go? And he's like, no. And there's a way by writing, I don't even think it's performance, but by writing, that you can show the natural progression of this in a way where Rick Flag, the position that he is, because of his interactions with Creature Commandos and stuff, and we're seeing him in the hero role, and then somewhat as a governmental person in Superman, but yet there was a line that he said when he arrests Superman, "I'm sorry about this," right? That was very powerful. And then when you get to this season, where it's like, okay, yes, it makes sense for him being the situational antagonist of, yes, this is Peacemaker. I read the files. He killed my son. I'm angry. But then you get to now turn to this mustache twirling villain of now all metahumans to be sent up here when you're fucking one. And on top of that,
does he know?
Because she said it. I'm gonna the conversation with, now technically she's a cyborg. I know he kind of.
Oh, Sasha. I was about to be like, who the fuck is he talking about? Yeah.
Mrs.
but
Frankenstein.
Right, exactly. But in that conversation, like the nonchalantness of like, okay, he just. Yeah, let's go with the strip club with Lex Luthor crew and all stuff. Like, yeah, let's go. Hey, you coming? Like, no, I'm not. We're gonna lock all these people up. All these metahumans and everything in this world, which I think is more tied to Lex's plan than his own plan. But he just feeding us like, yes, like, oh yeah, let's get it. But you get to lock up Peacemaker, right? It's like, all right, cool. But like, no, he's enjoying doing all this while his crew is dying. It's like. And then, even though that shows the progression for Judo Master and Tim Meadows' character to be like, yeah,
I love how we don't know his name. It's Tim Meadows.
Is it Flower?
Who cares?
I don't know, Flurkin. I don't know.
No, but the Argus stuff.
The cat from Captain Marvel, by the way,
with how they work within like the Secretary of Defense doesn't even track. Like. Superman gives us a great insight into like the politics of where metahumans are, right? And the last thing we saw,
Flurry. His name is Flurry.
Flurry.
Oh,
I was close.
Sure. That is Flower. Fleur. Fleur. That's flower. Anyways, it doesn't even narratively track with the DCU world, because Superman was a hero, and then your parents are crazy people. Okay, now we'll give permission for you to be arrested. Oh, turns out Lex is a supervillain. Superman, you don't have to be arrested anymore. That's the last thing we saw. And it's the secretary being like, well, the metahumans are like calling the shots or whatever, even though they're doing the right thing.
And he said no lines, which people said, well, a friend of mine last night was like, well, that speaks something because he felt some type of way about it. I was like, but
there's a problem there. It's been 1 month since Superman in that world. Yep. What happened in those 4 weeks?
Nothing. We've seen nothing.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah, that's that I was getting to, because the thing is, like, I think Frank Grillo is a great actor. The Marvel Studios completely wasted him, and I don't want this to happen to him again here in DC.
Of course. Yes.
I like Crossbones was like, you're fucking kidding me. You blew him up after 2 movies. Like, I understand why Frank was pissed about that. So like the fact that, okay, like we're gonna see a lot of Rick Flag Sr. in this universe. We're obviously gonna see a lot of him, and I think there's room for improvement. So I don't think he's a lost cause yet, because again, I still want to get, at least when it comes to Rick, because again, with Rick, he is this again, because this is his because just like how Christopher went to another Earth and decided to move to another world, that's his screaming, that is his addiction, that is his pain speaking for him, that's controlling him. The same thing has happened with Rick. He lost a son, and he has his killer right in front of him. Now, I will say this. I did for a second think for a brief moment that, the way they're going to bring Joel Kinnaman back is that they reveal, that Rick from Earth X wasn't a Nazi, and he just gets sent to our world. And, there's a Chaz ad, redemption where, like, Rick, I know I took your son. I regret it. Let me give you another chance. Like maybe Rick Flag Jr. lost his dad on Earth X. And
again, a question about Rick.
Not yet. I'm talking. I'm just gonna finish my point. Like that way, because again, going to what Mike said, personal storytelling for multiverse has to have a point. Because again, it's like, yeah, like cool seeing 7 peacemakers and vigilantes. Like, it can be great. It can be fun. They can be very shallow. But this was one of those moments where, like, Rick Flag Jr. could have come to our world, and that would have made him snap at Rick Flag Sr. Step out. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm working for the government. Because again, we talk about government and police corruption, and this could have been a moment where he's like, what am I doing? Like, killing Christopher is not going to undo the death of my son. But again, instead, think about this world where, like, I get a second chance with, like, a doppelganger who he's not exactly my son, but like Christopher went out of his way to give me that chance to be a father again. Because like, I agree with what Mike says. It is very mustache twirling. And again, I want better for Frank Grillo and Rick Flag Sr. Because again, he was one of the best parts of Creature Commandos. Even again, that one scene, Mike, you just said, that I'm sorry, Superman, I didn't want to have to do that. Like, that speaks volume. You can, like, performance is one thing, but like, you can do so much with even little writing. And I just think that I'm hoping that, this is Rick at his lowest, and that we build up from there. Kyle, what is your question about Rick?
Why, like, the show doesn't tell us why he hates metas. He just had his Creature Commandos adventure. So he talked to Lex once and Anthony Kiedis from Red Hot Chili Peppers, and now he hates metahumans for some reason. Like, now, I'm sorry. Like,
I would say this though, because Andy's making, like, talking about natural progression with this, but I want to stick on the metahuman conversation, because I think there's an opportunity, because what the foundation that Superman laid, that you actually make metahumans like the X-Men or mutants of the DC universe, where it's like, oh yeah, some of these metahumans were born, some of them were experimented on, some of them had no choice and they became meta, whatever, and now you are, the lower ends of the society, whatever. And I think that's a very interesting conversation, especially if you got Teen Titans Project You got
X-Men before Marvel X-Men's.
Right. Do X-Men before Marvel does X-Men, even though they're bringing back the 20-year-old X-Men who are now 60 plus. But anyway, I feel like what they did.
Excuse me. Do not disrespect Sir Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen. They are legends, and
Yes,
this will.
Oh, and they were
80.
legendary in Multiverse of Madness. That was fantastic.
Yes. We don't talk about that. That's probably gonna be the last time they play Magneto and Professor X forever. It's like it's the last time we're gonna see them because
the last time was X-Men 3, then the last time was Days of Future Past, and then the last time was Logan.
Okay. Speaking of Marvel, James Gunn revealed that he wanted to add a Deadpool cameo in episode 8, and that he and Ryan Reynolds talked about it. Thank God it did not happen. Like, if we're gonna do a Marvel DC crossover, this is not the crossover that I want.
No, if they were gonna do anything with Ryan Reynolds, make him Green Lantern. Have fun with the DC multiverse. You showed us no funny Earths, except the little Stitches that are humping Tim Meadows.
What?
They gave me Scooby-Doo, and I went, Hanna-Barbera does this better.
Yeah, oh my God, like I was, because when they started getting attacked, I was like, this is when Flurry dies, now that I know his name. Oh, fuck. I want to talk about some things that we also did like. I don't want, I think we focused a lot on what we didn't enjoy with this episode. And again, it's okay to be critical. I just want to make sure that we also highlight the positive. Correct. Because I want to finally say, I called it Adebayo formed checkmate, and I was like, when the girls were having their scene, I'm like, because again, there's no dialogue, there's just music, and I'm like, I'm trying to read the lips. I'm like, is she saying did she say checkmate? Is that checkmate? Yeah, and I was like, and then by the end, because again, first of all, because I was like, yeah, like there's
they
no
office.
You know what? Adrian put the blood money to some good use, and like Adebayo played him so well. Like
that was very funny.
That was hilarious, yeah. But again, I love the fact it's Adebayo that gets to be part of it, and she's running it, and again, I love that Sasha even came to her senses that like, because we see throughout the the meetings that she has with Ricky, like, oh fuck, I'm on the wrong side of this, and. And so like also like seeing all the free girls together was just like, come on, that's fucking badass. I always love this. So the fact that we have checkmate now in the DCU, because I will say that as someone who's been stuck with Argus since the Arrowverse
for years, man,
I'm fucking over Argus. There's nothing, like even the comics, I don't what's so special about it. Like I don't get what's so, like, again, I'm sure Vanessa can explain it way because she follows the comics way more than I do, but like checkmate is so much cooler, and there's so many cool kids we can connect with. And I will say that when they were like, the shot of them all walking together, and then
I fell asleep.
When the shot pans to Flurry, I screamed in anger. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Why is he here?
Does Judo Master have no clothes?
He probably doesn't get paid. He doesn't get paid well, I guess.
I do. Now, I will say I did like Fleur. Like, listen, he is a comic character that I did my research on and everything, and he has involvement with I think he's a race swap. Yeah, he's a character, but the character in the comics was white. I could have swore. I might be mistaken two characters. But I'm looking good. But anyway, I do like to have another like governmental character, moving forward in DC universe is good. I think again, I enjoyed Tim Meadows as a person and as an actor. Just not
he's phenomenal. He's a great actor.
As an actor, I think he can bring in such a level of gravitas that kind of like lifts up the spirits in the room. And I think there's many possibilities with characters he can interact with in the future. Really want to see him interact with Hawkgirl. But anyway, it just I feel that to have checkmate, where we're going here. Again, I hope there has to be some connection to Brave and the Bold or whatever, something wherever to Bruce Wayne with this, especially with Sasha with their character and everything, but also Mr. Terrific as well. I want to see interaction with there, but with like because with Checkmate, there's plenty of characters. Like I don't even want a Checkmate show. I just want a show with the question. Checkmate can be in the show, but I want it to be about the question.
You know what I think they have to do, because I know there's been some complications with the question, right? So what I think they might do is that they will call the show Checkmate, and he will be one of the main characters, so that way they can get away with it. It's kind of like what almost like the Hulk in the MCU. Like Universal has the movie rights, but for like solo Hulk movies, but MCU can use Hulk in like supporting roles. I did look it up. Flurry is not from the comics. He's original. But no, you're good. No, if there's anyone who should fucking apologize, it's Flurry, because he's this like it's. Half of the things he says is disgusting. I'm just like, who finds this funny?
I thought we were saying good things.
Again, but because we had to address them. But again, that shot with all of them walking out together, I'm like, okay, yeah. And again, like, yeah, I know they bought an office, but you know what, Kyle, they have to start somewhere.
Well, no, I'm sorry. It would matter if this felt like a resolution and not the last 5 minutes of the episode, because the things that are great in this episode are the things we love about this show. Getting to see what actually happened on the date. I loved those scenes. I thought they were fantastic. Specifically, just getting to see hardcore. Yeah, that was super fun. And then Danielle Brooks is the standout of this episode. I think we would all agree. Like the two scenes, not two. She's in obviously more scenes than that, but the one when she goes to see I've forgotten the name of her fiance. I don't have it here in my notes.
Kyoto?
Thank you. When they have that conversation, which is a real adult conversation to have, I thought that was fantastic. And they're both so great in it. And then when Peacemaker gang catch up with Chris and they're all there together, those two scenes are incredible. And I like, you mentioned it, the back and forth with Adrian and Danielle was really great. But then they're like, the problem is this show's 0 to 100 has given me whiplash. I almost considered to wear a neck brace during this recording because they just tell us stuff has happened. It's such bad storytelling. I'm pumped about Checkmate. I think it's super cool. There's a lot of really interesting characters in that organization.
Alan Scott.
But like at the end of a season, it should feel like a reward, or you feel gratified because characters have overcome their hero's journey, right? Joseph Campbell, like that's the point. The only character that this sort of tracks with is Ads.
Yes.
Right? Everyone else is just sort of there.
What arc did Economos had this season? What arc other than being
less of a coward?
Yeah, less of a coward and being friends with Eagly. Hardcore letting her guard down.
I thought that was very sweet.
I thought that was I thought that was
when he put the wig on. He's like,
I thought that was great. And I think
also I cried when they opened the closet and Eagles was sitting in the corner. I was like, Andy, I know the CGI character, but holy fuck, this is so sad. He's like, he's missing him. So like, and that's the thing. Like, for all the stupid nonsense we have to put up with this season, if there's anything that this show proved to me is that Steve Agee, Jennifer Holland, Daniel Brooks, Freddie Stroma, John Cena, that this is one of the best ensembles James has put together. I want to keep the characters. I don't need to keep the show, which is why I want to bring up Angelica's comment. Thank you for commenting. And James Gunn said no season 3 for Peacemaker. Yeah, as of right now, he has no plans for season 3. And I think it's better that way. Like this, again, we're obviously going to get Peacemaker out of Salvation at some point in other movies, but we're going to see these other characters in other shows. Again, I mean, at this point, I think Waller will get reworked to
yes.
Yeah,
that way.
We leave them alone for a bit. Like, I'm sorry, is that on the table?
Waller's that show's not going to happen for a hot minute.
All of these people. Like, here's the thing. I'm as somebody who didn't love Peacemaker, and I really didn't like the Suicide Squad.
Me neither.
This being such a fundamental part of the DCU has been annoying. Creature Commandos, it's easy to accept. They're animated. Weasel looks entirely.
when you say fundamental, like, because like
they've been in more projects than new characters.
That's yeah.
Steve is
like
wait,
homework.
John was
even before the
the
DC
Suicide
universe.
Squad, Creature Commandos, they're in Superman. He's now had Peacemaker, Shazam, Black Adam.
Shazam and Black Adam. Shazam and Black Adam. Even James Gunn said like I didn't approve of that.
But DCU, which started officially with Creature Commandos, that's fine. But now into Superman, we needed a Peacemaker cameo, which it's not even that. It's maybe one of the worst jokes of the movie. And then with this, I'm sorry. We all understand how the multiverse works, but you know who I care most about in this new version of the DC universe as a longtime DC fan? My Justice League members. Let's do them, because I don't want, Checkmate is cool. It's way more interesting than Argus. I agree with you guys. It's 13 years since Arrow debuted. I think I saw that today. Yeah. So it's like we're burnt out on Argus. Andy, I think you're wholeheartedly correct. I want a cohesive Justice League universe as opposed to James Gunn's friends. Like Lanterns is going to give us that. Supergirl's going to give us that. Man of Tomorrow, we've confirmed apparently that some people are coming back to that. Like, I don't want any more of this part of the universe when DCU is so much more expansive than the 2 office buildings they can rent for HBO Max.
Again, I didn't. Okay, so I want to retread what I said. I said that all I said was I would prefer if Checkmate replaces Waller. I didn't say premiere next October or something like that. I said like if we're gonna get that show, if it happens, it probably will be in 2027. Like at this point, because they're not gonna release
8.
Yeah,
28.
Yeah, 28. Yeah, so even then. So I'm just saying that this is what I want to replace them with. I'm not saying like shove them in our faces every single year in every single part. That's not what I was saying. So
I think they're going to be in other projects though, and honestly, I don't want that. Because they always pull focus. Like Peacemaker is the center of that shot in Superman, and if you've not seen Peacemaker, you're like, what? It's a useless moment where let's build up our new characters.
The only 2 characters out of that group because I actually think Adebayo, even being an original character, but still connects to Waller, I think it'd be a great reinvention of that character to a point where I think forming Checkmate and again, going back to what you're saying, like that, because there were scenes in there that was Emmy level good, and it goes to Danielle Brooks, right?
Academy Award nominated actress.
Yes,
Danielle Brooks.
Repeat that. Yes. So
Academy Award nominated actress Danielle Brooks.
The crime of this entire season is the fact that you let her rock at the last episode and piecemeal it, because it's almost like her performance, her delivery as an actress, she can turn this entire episode upside down.
When she pulled up the chair, my mother is gonna cook right now.
And let her cook.
Because Mike, you know that when a woman of color who's that protective of her loved ones pulls up a chair like that or gets that close,
you mean
business.
She's
business,
listen,
and Kyle mentioned it before. James has no excuse. Minecraft was already done by the time she did season 2.
Yeah.
Which yay, sequel is happening. So I hope she gets a good check.
Yeah, and
I hope she's not in the movie because she deserves better projects. That's why. She's not
under
good
a different writer, or at least if you actually are focused on prioritizing this character and pushing her up. So listen, this is my thing. What about that? I want to go back to also with her wife, because in this time we're in where we're talking about DEI, we're talking about talk about the wokeness and those stuff. The issue about diversity in films and television shows that there might be a little frustration is the fact that it's used there as here's just a sticker to say that we're checking for representation, but you're not actually treating these people as human beings and full flesh out characters. I am a heterosexual man, but I am married, and I can say I relate to that entire conversation that she had with her wife, and I actually respect the fact how mature that conversation was, but this also how beautiful it was to see that in a same-sex couple and actually to push that barrier of storytelling with new forms of character development, but also showing, hey, same-sex couples are not no out of the blue alien thing outside a type of the universe. No, they are human beings, and you're showing them in a new way that's interesting. Like, wow, I've never seen this before, this type of conversation with same-sex couples. But like, yes, when you treat them like human beings, they become revolutionary. Sinners is not this is why this movie's so great. When you treat Black people and use concepts and genres and just write them as regular characters, then I gotta put a Black character, I gotta add some other stuff about the
quota when you're just meeting a
characters.
quota.
Yeah, right, exactly. Let it rock, and that's where it becomes Miss Terrific. Just let him breathe. And it's like, wow, look how great Black representation, because you treat him as a character, not a token.
Exactly. And for me as a queer man, like when I was watching that conversation, like I never they weren't dangling their sexuality in front of me. They were dangling the fact that these two, they don't fit. And that Adebayo is like, if I stay with you and embrace my wish, you're gonna die. But if I stay with you to make your dream come true, I will feel trapped. And I'm like,
powerful.
And never does it become about skin color or sexuality. It's because like Mark said, us LGBT people, like, we're not aliens. Like, trust me, like we're humans. Like, me, I just, I love dudes. Like, great, but like, trust me, I'm just like anyone else. And so are my many, many, many members of the LGBTQ family. So I think this was when I'm like, okay, James, if you could treat something like this with such care and respect and sensitivity, because it is a sensitive discussion and topic, because breaking up and divorcing, it's not easy. If you can do that, you, like, somewhere I know deep inside, and I think he can probably find that at some point when it comes to tackling race conversations. And I think, and I don't know if it was Vanessa, it was when I was gone, James should not be handling too many projects at the same time. Like, Man of Tomorrow, he's going to be writing directing. I'm like, cool. Whatever TV show comes next, whatever movie comes next.
2027, right? We have the date for that?
Yeah, July 9th. And whatever other TV shows comes or movies that comes, let's focus on other storytellers. Again, like, I think he's great with story, he's great with directing, but he's also a great leader that can also, again, because the thing that we needed from DC Studios, that DC films never had, was safety for creators. It was always too many cooks in the kitchen, studio executives thinking that they know how to make movies when they don't. James needs to be that protection for anyone who comes on board DC Studio, whether it's for a movie or a TV show, that they get, they finalize the script, they finalize the vision, and then they go forward. So again, like, because I don't, even James has even said, like, he's not, he has maybe a few things he wants to direct. I don't think he's going to be a showrunner or a director for any more TV shows. I think Peacemaker season 2 is probably it. I think, if anything, like, because directing a movie, like, he can prepare for that, because again, I think that with the way Superman and Peacemaker season 2, where you can clearly tell there was, like, collision, crossovers. You're again, like, he's one man. He's stretching himself too thin, and that's the thing. Like, you can't do that to yourself when you're co-CEO. Like, again, like, that's why I think about over at Marvel right now. Yes, Kevin Feige is the president of Marvel Studios, but for example, for television, Brad Winterbaum, who, great guy, been interviewed several times, he is now the head of Marvel Television. You can't, like, again, there's only so much a CEO can do with, 365 days a year. And again, there's so many, like, because again, going back to the Waller show, for example, like, even if it happened on, like, we have Crystal Henderson from Watchmen, and we have Jeremy Carver from Doom Patrol. I'm like, James, let these characters that you've been, like, setting up and shaping, let someone else maybe take a grab, swing at them. Can be refreshing that way. Also, because again, I don't ever want to see a day where I have to read the headline that James Gunn has burned himself out. Because burnout, like, it is not pretty. I burned myself out way too many times in life. That if I have one more burnout, I'm probably going to not be able to work for the rest of my life, and it's not fun. So, and I don't want that for someone like James, who I feel like he's taking on so much. So again, like, with them saying there's no more season, there's not gonna be a season 3. I don't need season 3. So yeah, Christopher is stuck on Salvation.
Woo.
We have Checkmate. One woman laughed at Economist's joke.
Man, those end credit scenes are fucking horrible. I'm sorry.
Every single
one of them. There's not one single one I laugh. Even like the last one of what's the guy's name of the Lex Luthor guy? He uses
Otis.
Not Otis. No.
Anthony Kiedis.
Yeah, Anthony Kiedis. Where he was he's going to search porn and masturbate right in front of the fucking security guard that was watching while he was still handcuffed or something. It was ridiculous. But aside from that. I say for me, I got my wife is calling me. I think that the terms of the emotional elements with the 11th Street kids coming to get Chris. I remember there was a time for me when I was in college again, dealing with depression, self-loathing, and kind of selling your own self as a prison where like I don't no one should mess with me because all I do is cause harm and or cause I make people feel bad, whatever, and stuff like that. People shouldn't be around me type mess, whatever, right? But then those people are your friends are devoted for you, know who you are and everything. And again, I love the part with where Vigilante Lily tackled him. It's like for us, like even emotionally, we'll try to tackle a friend, like, hey, get your shit together, all that stuff. But literally, sometimes we have all that. We're like, no. We need to know what we can do for you so we can keep you here longer because you matter. Like that is very powerful. It's very powerful with that scene and led by Danielle again. Is just talking just about like, listen, you might be an idiot and whatever you might think of yourself, but when I'm around you, I know I'm around someone that genuinely loves me. And right now, I don't know what anyone in the world that can feel like that, that can make me feel like that and stuff. And isn't that very powerful just to say, like, listen, for a friend, you might think you're a piece of shit, whatever, but I'm just telling you value and when I'm around you, I feel safe, regardless of things you've done, even walking through the things that you will hold yourself as burden before, in terms of like, yeah, I killed Rick Flag. I did this, I had to kill my brother. No, your dad put you and your brother fighting each other when you were kids. Waller ordered you to do this. And then with the Earth X, even though she made an excuse for him for that, you didn't know. You didn't know this was a Nazi world and stuff like that. That's not your fault, and it's given like, what is it? The scene with Robin Williams with Matt Damon, is not your fault. Not your fault, powerful. And sometimes we need that wake-up call with us as friends and stuff. And I think that was very powerful. Again, that's just that's the meat. That's where I'm like, when I see stuff like this, it's like I'm almost double dutching with James on this. Like, dude, I know you're not a bad writer. I know you're not a bad director. And I'm like, when you hit, you're on fire. You know what I mean? And it gets frustrated where I'm like, I'm watching this, and someone as a friend, someone who supports you, watching, or as a viewer watching you, I'm like, man, just don't go the extra line. Don't like stay here. You let this sit. When you let that entire scene with him, with Adebayo and her wife, let that sit. I'm like, that's it. But why are we only getting this in the fucking finale? And we don't need this to be an hour-long episode for you to let that sit. You just need to cut this shit, the other excess fat, and doesn't mean you can't have the comedy and stuff there, but let it, the emotion, drama, dramatic stuff sit. And then when it makes those jokes come in, it makes it even much like a breath of fresh air. It's like, and it's not even like you're intentionally making a joke. You're creating a pause when you're just delivering us with all this emotional weight. And that is talking about balance. And I know you can do it, James, because we've seen it. We've seen it in some films. And I'm saying, and I think that this imbalance comes with over producing and over promising or in terms of the full story that you have. And when you talk about, I work on, my work-life balance and everything like that. And I'm like, and I know it's only the third project, and he's been attached to this. I'm saying this, I need a James Gunn detox, right? And I mean by like the next 3 projects, we're going to get that 2 movies and 1 show. It's about to come. Great. That was what she said. But I'm saying, It's like this. I feel like this when we get after the end of 2026, then we can come and I think do we see a legit problem happening here when we're seeing other people taking ownership of other properties, and now we're seeing the meat for what it is. So going to Andy's point, that maybe thinking that maybe that man tomorrow might be worried about, but in the end of 2026, and if I'm seeing something like some of this same like imbalancing of stuff like that, I'm like, I'm be concerned, especially when it comes with Jon Stewart. I'm telling you, wait 20 years for this dude to show up. And I'm telling you, that's the project for me. Like, hey, man,
they cannot fuck up Jon Stewart. My trust is in Damon Lindelof. I don't know the other guy what he's worked on before, so this will be new for me. With Tom King, I know Vanessa is not, she said how she feels about some of his work. I haven't read enough of his work, but I've been very up and down with him. So again, my favorite right now is in Damon Lindelof and Aaron Pierre. That we're gonna get a great Jon Stewart introduction. But Mike, I know you have to get going. But first of all, it was great seeing you again, my friend. And we're gonna have more DC podcasts to do, Mike. So, Mike, tell everyone they can find you on social media. Tell them about your project and anything else you'd like to promote before you go.
Yeah, you can find me at Jedi Mike 7 on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, brought to you by Solo Media. I have the reviews and everything coming up, interviews I have with Julia Roberts and from After the Hunt that's coming. When I hopefully
you want to say that a little bit? You want to say that a little bit louder?
Yes, interview with Julia Roberts for After the Hunt. That should be coming next week. I got my reviews are posted on the Rotten Tomatoes meter for Tron Ares. My review on YouTube on there. Yes, so we're cooking, y'all. Cooking. But I actually got to thank Andy for this because again, I started writing when Andy announced. Because of that, I get an opportunity now to do to write and everything.
I didn't do shit. You did it all.
You gave me opportunity, so I remember where it all started. But anyway, thank you. Because like a year from now, like from today, I was not confident. It's like writing, I can't do that. But no, he opened that door for me. So I just want to say thank you.
I mean, like when he sent me his first couple of reviews, I was kind of like, what was he so worried about? Like he's great at it. So like, but yeah, no, I'm glad to have you part. You're doing great. Don't worry. I'm proud to have you part of the podcasting family, of course, of the MOC family. I anyone who does anything for MOC, I'm always grateful for. So, but yeah, guys, go check out Mike at all his places. You go click in the YouTube description. You can click on Agent on Mike 7. You'll come directly to his YouTube channel. So, but Mike, we wish you good night, and we will see you on the next one.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kyle. Again, we'll talk more soon and everything. But I really, out of all this entire season, one thing I did enjoy was speaking about this show with you guys too. This was a highlight of my week. When us recording, definitely no dour moment. And also to my auntie, Vanessa, Nana, she's at New York and everything. Again, anytime we're all together, it's always a joy to see everybody. So anyway, I see you guys. Peace and chicken grease. I'm out.
Oh my God, that was a new one. But yeah, I said, I listen. Even though I'm not worried about Man of Tomorrow, I can understand people's perception and concern. But I feel that, because he knows that with Superman and those characters, like he can't just go off as much as he does with Peacemaker. I think because you mentioned it before, that's very mainstream. It has to be able to pull in all demographics, and right now I don't have a reason to be concerned. I think that
I should preface that though. I think it's just because he's put on us the significance of what's happening, which is Superman at its best needs to and I think Mike brought a great point about that detox. To me, what's most frustrating about Peacemaker season 2 in its function in the DCU, like Creature Commandos, and as a huge animation fan, it's kind of like a prologue to the DCU, right? Because it's an animation show. It's adult.
It was like an appetizer because
and a moose-boosh.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, like because the plan was initially that Superman was going to come out first, but then the strikes happened, which only affected live action. The animation crew could still work. So it's like there's no reason to
people are paid peanuts.
Yeah.
No, what I mean by that is like the worst part about this whole experience with this season And I same thing with Mike. Like, I absolutely adore Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians 3. I think those movies are fantastic. But to me, this was so reminiscent of so many of the problems I had with Volume 2.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because I get he enjoys the comedy, and tonal balance was all over the place. Like, if you're just making a comedy, fine, don't have those serious moments. But Mike made a great point. You used your best actor and gave her 2 amazing scenes in the finale, when construction of this season could have been just as ridiculously funny, but just as meaningful if you used the concepts introduced, that being a white supremacist run world with somebody who grew up with that not being the norm, and having friends like who, one being somebody who's BIPOC with Adebayo, right? Somebody of color. And then having, like, Chris himself is,
He's bisexual.
I think he's bisexual. Yes. I was going to say pan, but bisexual. Yes. Right. And like, all these things were like, it's there. And then for the delivery it's like a very undercooked meal. And that's, to me, what's more frustrating. Like, my confidence in Man of Tomorrow, because it's the only thing he's working on. Like, we've talked about it, about the working on that. And then the shooting schedules for both these projects, for Superman and Peacemaker, were within months of each other. Superman started shooting in February of 2004, and then Peacemaker was April. A movie like Superman takes at least 90 days, if not more.
Yeah. I think for me that, and again, I mean, people are gonna call me a chill, but it's like, whatever, fucking call me whatever. When it comes to this experiment, I think that maybe this is maybe a good experience for James to see, again, because I get it. DC has been through, I don't even know what to call it, like a ruckus this past decade, and like, again, they're trying to, like, these two is the right step forward, and maybe with this he will see that, okay, you know what, maybe I should focus just on movies, and that, when it comes to TV shows, that, especially not if they're going to be scheduled around the same time, maybe I shouldn't focus on that, like, because this thing, he's, just like, listen, I'm a huge Zack Snyder fan. I love so much what he did with his DC stuff, but not everything he did was perfect. Same with James. Like, they are both humans. They both learn. So hopefully he will see that and take from the responses to this and realize, okay, you know what? Let's not try this again. So again, like, if for example, Peacemaker season 3 were to happen, which I don't think it will, but if it were to happen, I think that, for example, we will be like, I'm gonna open a writer's room. I'm gonna direct 1 or 2 episode max per season.
The first and last one, usually.
Yeah. Like that's what usually a lot of creators do who also write and direct. And then focus, because I think there's so many great writers out there that could do so much good with these characters. And again, even though I know that you want to break from that, and I understand that completely, but I'm saying that, like, I would love to see what would the writers room that they have right now for Waller, what would they do with Adebayo and Economist and Amelia, like, for example, like, we know that, Checkmate could, for example, be where we finally get the reconciliation between Amanda and Adebayo, and kind of like working on that mother-daughter relationship, because now Adebayo isn't the one in power, not Amanda. Amanda is, like, because we still, she's up for charges. She's being indicted. So
until Lex is president.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's the biggest thing for me. It's not necessarily like, yeah, I want to break, but it's one of the aspects that was pitched to us for DCEU, which was like, create directors and creative voices are going to make these different things. I would much prefer if that was the setup for this, which is James is clearly the Superman saga architect, right? And then, I mean, we've had conversations. Drew Goddard maybe is in charge of the Batman saga. And then if you have...
I want that so much.
It has to happen. I'm sorry.
The way you keep dangling in front of me, I'm just like, they're probably gonna take it away from me. Like it's not gonna be given to me.
Right?
It's
And then
so frustrating.
right, and we know that Anna
Noguera?
is clearly involved, right? Like she's working on other projects. Like if you have these creative voices that can be the touchstone pillars of the universe, not the franchise, because arguably like it's an umbrella, but you know what I mean. And if we have these tonal things, it won't feel as jarring. But to me, you need a home. Like there is a reason Peacemaker is an HBO Max show. It is a subsect of HBO, right? Lanterns is an HBO Sunday night drama, right? This is Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. At least that for me. I'm EST, right? And so you need if you want to have a long-lasting universe, and people are not going to want to hear about Marvel on a DC Studios podcast, but I understand a lot of the criticism the MCU gets now, and we've had conversations about this. If you don't have 5 or 6, and this is purely from business analytics, franchises to hang your hat on, that was Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and the Avengers, and then Guardians wound up being in there, and then you had little pockets of new stuff. DC needs those in order to maintain the in-between projects. So we know Supergirl's coming. It's a part of the wing of Superman. But Batman we're probably not getting till 2028. We know we're getting Man of Tomorrow in 2027.
That's looking Wonder Woman.
But that has to come to fruition sooner rather than later. Because if you cannot get the big 3 right, as a diehard DC fan, I don't care about the rest, because the dream, and we got it for a movie and a half, was the Trinity on screen together. And you can have a lot of great supporting characters, but at the end of the day, I want the Justice League. That's the point of this DC thing. And so we have a pillar right now. Like we're getting a step with Clayface, but there's no foundation to put that step on yet, right? We have Superman, and it worked, and it was amazing. Supergirl, I have all the faith in the world. If I were betting, I think it's going to be a better movie than Superman. But it'll be very fascinating to see what we have moving forward, specifically with Lanterns, which is our next project.
Yeah. And the only reason we're saying that, guys, is because James has said it's going to be early 2026. So that likely would mean before Supergirl. Like you could do it like in Mars, and you do it for 8 weeks. That would lead right into like May, I guess. And Supergirl comes in June. So there you go. I think for me, like, I mean, as far as Peacemaker goes, like, it's over. Like, we will, like, I don't think I have anything else to say about Peacemaker. I do definitely think it's very funny that there was, because again, there was so many rumors about what was going to happen. Blue Beetle, yeah, like the fuck. And listen, Jaime Reyes is my boy. He's my man. He's my dude. Like I will fight for him. So and I want to see Sholo.
He needs to be in Titans. I need Sholo in Titans.
Yeah, no, listen, that's natural. I think it makes more sense for him to be one of the members of, because again, like, the way I think of Dream Teen Titans is they're going to establish...
I don't think it's going to be called Teen Titans. I think it's going to be called Titans, like the DC Rebirth Titans. Wally West, like, I want those people.
Yeah, I mean, again, whatever they call it, again, I think that there will be at least a point where they would say, in the past, there was a group called Teen Titans, and then now in the present timeline, it's called Titans, and maybe that's where, you have Damian Wayne, you have Jaime, and other characters. So, but for me, like, I think that we're gonna get to those big characters we're all talking about. I think 2028, honestly, like if everything goes according to plan, if everything goes in the right direction, I think 2028 is gonna be the Batman Wonder Woman year. I think we're gonna have Wonder Woman and Batman, like the DCU ones, that same year.
Wonder Bat, the year of 2028.
I shipped them, so
I mean, they did in Justice League and JLU, so
I know, and. Yeah, they did. So I hope we get that, and I think that's again because, I don't think they're gonna make us wait for that long. So but again, like as Kyle said, to take investment in these in between projects, we need the big ones to succeed, so that people will also invest in the. That's why, for example, like, introducing a character like the Engineer in Superman before the Authority. I'm like, yeah, now I want.
It's James's own words that they're having issues with the project.
But he did not say. I think it will still happen. I think it will be a TV show, though. I don't think it's gonna be a movie.
I think that makes the most sense for what that story's going to be about, specifically with Salvation.
Yeah, and you have, again,
that's where that makes more sense. Like, you have a group of heroes who are essentially a government, right? That's their whole purpose. Hey, why are metas disappearing?
Exactly. And again, you can use Angela's connections to Lags and kind of be like, well, there's been a lot of reporting about these portals happening all over the world. Like, it's the same energy that happened in Metropolis. So, like, that's a way to.
The Hat would notice that because of his hat. His hat's a portal.
Oh yeah. Well, there you go.
No, sorry, he's the Elite. I'm confusing my evil groups.
I was confused there. I'm like, wait a minute.
I was confusing my evil groups.
Yeah. So yeah, and again, also a TV show, exploring these new characters, like again, 1 hour drama. I think
financially risky too.
Also, like, doing a 2-hour movie with that many new characters, don't do that. Don't do that. I can understand why
1 hours.
I want 8 episodes. I don't want 6 episodes.
No, but hour-long episodes, not 38 minutes.
Yeah, because the Authority, like, if you do it right, you could do it as an HBO drama. Like, because there's a lot of great themes that come.
Look at Watchmen, right?
Listen, the fact that we're getting Damon Lindelof for another DC project in this era, because I'm like,
as long as it's not Lost, Damien Lindelof.
I can't speak to that because I never watched Lost, but the Authority would work great as a show, and also again, like, when these smaller characters. I think a better way to get people to invest in them, because now I will say that if there's one strength that season 2 of Peacemaker has done, is that, like, I can see there being more fans now of the 11th Street Gang than there were 3 years ago. So, because these are great actors, these are great characters that just needs, and like now Sasha is part of it. Flower, Flurry, whatever we're stuck with him. I do want to see Judo Master, like, now, because again, he did a little bit for me. I was like, okay, like, okay, that's all I'm gonna say. But I think that's a good place to wrap. Kyle, it's been great to have. I mean, listen, you and I know Jennifer for now a few years. You've become part of the MOC family, but you're now also part of the podcast family, which is, how you and I know each other the most through. So I'm happy that you're now part of this, and we're gonna try and make sure that DC Studios podcast is more regular, so that we don't, because like, I know that we have in the past, like, as soon as we finish one show, we disappear for months, and then if there's a trailer for something, we come back. But like, maybe we'll do something live every week or something like that. Who knows? Like, I want to do more things now that we are, because. We're done with DCU stuff for the rest of the year. This is the last thing. So it's been great having you join us and becoming part of the fam. So before you go, tell us where they can find you on social media. Tell them about Film Brillas or anything else you'd like to promote.
Sure. So I've seen Tron Ares. That'll be on the Film Realists. That's REELISTS. I'm sure Andy has so kindly linked it.
If you click in the in the video description, it will take you directly to this channel. He has links in his about page.
Perfect. Yeah, so Tron Ares, when you're listening to this, will likely be my most recent review. I cover all the biggest TV shows from all the big streaming platforms. I'm sorry, I'm pulling up my Google Calendar. Even if big or small, depending on the release schedule, I'm really looking forward to covering Good Fortune, which is coming out next week, which is a comedy with Keanu Reeves as a guardian angel. I know that's what I would want. I think the most fun stuff that I put out is usually in short form videos. So top 10s, top 5s, rankings, little film histories. I did a funny one on the original Tron, which was disqualified from the Oscars for ridiculous reasons at the time. So that came out this week, which was quite funny. So film reviews, I'm on Letterboxd. If you do want to see star ratings or written reviews, they're much shorter than the film reviews on the podcast. Andy's been on to discuss Superman and Lois, as well as Peacemaker, and I'm sure he will be back for something else. But yeah, it's been super fun to be a part of the DC studios. I'm very grateful to be a part of the MOC family. I've written up the most recent thing, if you're watching the video for this, our renewal for Daredevil Born Again Season 3. And if you love Daredevil, you might want to go through the Film Realist archives, because I have suggested as to where we might be going with Season 2 and Season 3. So I'm really looking forward to checking out Lanterns, which, if I had to guess, will be March 1st.
It makes the most sense, especially because I completely forgotten about the Game of Thrones show. And if it's... So I think because the New York Comic Con is happening as we speak.
6 episodes, January 18th.
Only 6?
6.
Well, damn.
Sorry, 1 second. I looked at this like 4 times. 7 Kingdoms. I have too many Peacemaker tabs open right now.
Same here.
It is 6 episodes. Yep.
Oh, there
So
you
that's
go.
what, March 1st. So if you're a DC fan, wait for that. The comics are amazing right now. If you're not a reader of DC podcast or DC comics right now, the absolute runs have been really interesting. I have my favorites. They differ from others, but there's a lot of great comic stuff out right now. And if you really want to support where DC is going, Superwoman World of Tomorrow or Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is fantastic. You can check out a lot of the stuff that's going to be inspiring the projects. Green Lantern Earth 1 seems to be a heavy influence on the upcoming Lantern show.
Yeah, and those are good. I defend Earth 1 books, except for Grant Morrison's Wonder Woman, because they suck. The book, not Grant, they're great. But that their take on Wonder Woman was just not for me. But yeah, I wish we'd have more Earth 1 books, but
And if you're pumped for Man of Tomorrow, I would recommend reading Jeff Johns, Gary Frank's Superman Brainiac.
Also, there's a great movie,
Superman Unbound.
Yes, there we go.
With Matt Bomer.
That was hot. I don't know why didn't just call it Superman Brainiac. Like that was like I'm bound.
It's because earlier, I think I want to say 2006, 2007, they had a direct-to-video called Superman Brainiac Attacks. Which was tangentially DCAU. Most DCAU fans don't think it is canon, even though it's the same character designs. So
yeah. But yes, it has been great having you join us, and I can't wait to talk more DC stuff with you. I mean, even when we're not doing it on air, I will buzz them up on the weekend.
We're friends in real life, Andy. You don't have to tell the people we're friends in real life.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? You're just a checkbox for me. It's fine. Listen, I only got you because I couldn't get Rob.
Whoa!
But Rob, we mean our dear friend Rob Keys over at Screen Rant, where I work, who we love so much. They're both Canadians. That's how they know each other, I guess. But that's how me and Kyle got to know each other. Like we were playing Call of Duty one night, and then Kyle was like, "I know you. I know who you are, Andy." And I'm like, "I know who you are."
I'd read and listened to your Flash stuff.
You've read my Flash. What have
the Flash coverage?
Okay. I was kind of like, did I do fan fiction that I did not remember?
No.
Yeah, but it's been great having you part, and I can't wait to do more discussing.
You need a Kyle for the Green Lantern podcast. Kyle Rayner's not going to be in the show, at least to my knowledge, but Kyle Chandler will be playing Hal Jordan.
There you go. I want to show this before I go, because I did get it right before my surgery. I eBayed it, so Alan Scott, it's his time soon, hopefully.
I don't have any things behind me. No, I've got the entire CW Arrowverse.
And Alan Scott is part of Checkmate, so there's always a way. But you can
Is he not in the mural in Superman?
I looked and I couldn't, like, he wasn't there. So I think they're holding off with him for a hot second.
I mean, it would make sense. You wouldn't want to do JSA as too many JSA things. No, he isn't there. They've got the original Sandman, which is interesting. They have Vibe.
Yeah, I have questions because I'm like, Cisco would not be part of that team, in my opinion.
Zatara is there. I love me some Zatara.
Well, he makes sense. He makes sense.
Buona Beast is there. I love Buona Beast.
But I'm just gonna do my plugs so that we can wrap this up. But you can find me at AnimeBite on all social media. I'm a senior writer for screenwrite.com, so check out all my latest entertainment coverage over there. You can also find me over here at Multiverse of Color as I'm the editor-in-chief, who, you know, like, it's really the team that does all the work. You know, I get to bring people together, and I, you know, get to help them use a platform, and I love working with them. So, you know, Vanessa, Mike, Kyle, Lady Genevieve, Bree, so many great people there that I'm fortunate to work with. The Showrunner Whisper is going to come back this fall. Now that I, you know, have had my surgery and I'm starting to feel a little better, I'm gonna get back to it. And yeah, I guess that's it. I'm taking a pause right now from streaming video games, just for my own sanity. But yeah, no, it's been great. You know, despite the ups and downs of Peacemaker season 2, like Mike said, I love just having the discussions. That's what's fun. So
and we care because we're fans.
Yeah, exactly. And also we're critics. Like, we, you know, like, even if it will sound like, oh, they're nitpicking, they're bitching or complaining or whatever, like, we're saying this because we care. And again, I don't think there's any way to walk away from this episode discussion and thinking, oh, they hate James Gunn. No, it's that we know that James Gunn is great at what he does, and we want to see the best of him, what he does. Like, not these, like, bird blindness jokes and shit. It's like, we can do better than that. So he's gonna show us something. He's gonna what is he gonna show us? And matter of fact, people who tuned in live and watched it, this was not planned. This was, you know, just to kind of get the episode quicker. But what do you have to show us?
We want this. We want more things like Superman.
There you go. Yeah, and we will hopefully be getting that. So, but yeah, thank you guys for following along with us for Peacemaker Podcast Season 2, and for Vanessa and for Mike, and of course for Kyle, Amanda B, and we will see you on the next installment of these year's podcast, which will hopefully be very, very soon. So, and don't forget, guys, if you want to find Multiverse Color, all the links to where the website is at and where you can subscribe to the podcast and so on is in the video description. This episode will also, of course, be on the audio platforms as soon as I get time to upload it. So, but you guys have a great night, and we'll see you soon. Peace.